No more jokes now, no more swearing.
Okay.
And no peeing in the toilet where we can hear.
I've got a bucket next to me. I'll just mute if I have to go.
Okay. Now, let's just try this again. Hello and welcome to the NAG Online podcast. This is episode 2, recorded on the 30th of July, 2014. I'm Wesley Fick.
I'm Mark Bill.
I'm Rick de Klerk.
I'm Chris Kemp.
Chris is the new guy joining us tonight. As I expected, we had him join, and then everything broke loose. Mark is a little bit quiet tonight because his microphone doesn't work properly. So it sounds a little bit like he's underwater, like he's a mermaid. Anyway, Chris, tell us a little bit more about yourself. How did you get onto NAG Online?
When I was teaching in Korea, my gaming was putting up a bunch of StarCraft articles. And I checked the guy who was writing them. Sorry, Nick. And I saw that he was in the Silver League, and I was like, no, this is no good. So I messaged James, who was the editor at the time, and said, look, I'm in Diamond, and I can write, so let me do this instead. So Nick was fired. I'm just kidding, it wasn't. But yeah, so then I started with my gaming and did a lot of stuff there. And then eventually I moved across to the dark side, and I've been here for a while. So I write the This Week in Gaming with the questionable journalistic integrity on Saturdays, and the column on Wednesdays, it usually has an inflammatory title.
And inflammatory statements.
Yeah, pretty much.
I trust you. Wait, did you actually hear that from last week's podcast?
I did, yeah. But I didn't disagree, so it was alright.
Yeah. If anyone wants to know, the reason why is because Chris put up an article about Ubisoft and why. What was it? The original title was Why Ubisoft
Never
Sucks.
buy a Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
I think the original was something 5 reasons it sucks, maybe something like that. The original picture was also someone giving the finger.
Yeah, that was I can't remember his name. It was an American colonel giving the it was Coffee Guy giving people the finger.
Yeah, it was one of those like old-timey 60s pictures. Yeah.
That was a little bit bad. Yeah.
It got changed slightly.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to have a rotation in. Hopefully, either Chris is going to be in with us, or it's going to be Miklos whenever he can get away from his kid and get him to bed on time and everything. So it's just going to be us for tonight.
We've also got a bit of important news to relay to our readers, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Oh,
Okay.
there's a seamless segue.
With regards to exactly, there we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The important news is that we're going to start a Kickstarter, and I'm going to take all the money and run.
I thought we were splitting the money, Wesley.
No. We're not splitting the money. I'm taking it all. I'm running.
I think you're supposed to do the turncloak deal after you've got the money, not before.
No.
It's like this villains that reveals everything when everybody's listening, just
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, in any case, let's get started. Firstly, a small announcement by the NAG magazine staff. Due to terrible circumstances and international espionage, and Joffrey Baratheon and a pack of angry caramels, there won't be a magazine out on the stands at the end of this month. It'll actually be out on the 7th of August due to some delays in getting the DVDs printed and pressed out and everything. There wasn't actually any reason why that's happened, but that's the only reason that we've been given by Lord Dane. Unless we rub his feet, we'll never know. We'll never know the truth.
Oh, he's a sucker for that, yeah.
So anyway, you'll only get your NAG magazine a little bit later at the beginning of the month.
Feel free to write.
Feel feel free to write and complain to the editors, not to us, because we don't do anything with the magazine.
We're innocent.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Cool. In any case, some of the very interesting news that we've had posted on the website these past 2 days is firstly that Electronic Arts is creating this Netflix service model for their games. It's called EA Access, where you're allowed to access a couple of games for a nominal fee every month. The nominal fee is $5, and then you can play the games and hopefully complete them. And just like Netflix, the games will go into like this sort of revolving door type thing where you'll have, like, say, a selection of 5 different games from EA stable for 1 month, and then the next month they're going to have something taken out for Battlefield or whatever the case may be. And directly after that, Sony says they don't want that. So, going more into the EA offer, has anyone else seen or have any thoughts on how they're going to be doing this?
Well, do we actually know how many games you're going to get access to?
Not at the moment. How it's going to start is the beta launches sometime at the end of this month, and initially people are going to be able to play. Wait, what was the titles? Where is it?
Madden, Battlefield,
Zombies,
Plants and Zombies, UFC.
Warfare.
Yeah, you're gonna be given those games to play, but you'll never own them. And I see. So it's FIFA 14, Madden NFL 25, Peggle 2, and Battlefield 4. And those games are going to be accessible for the beta. You can play them as much as you want. You can download the games as much as you want, so long as you're using your Origin account, obviously, on the Xbox One. And for the moment, this is only for the Xbox One. If you have an Xbox Live account and the Xbox One, then you can do this. You can access EA services.
So what I'm really interested by is a lot of people are saying that this is a major salvo from at least Microsoft with regards to their next gen console. There's a lot of guys that are saying that this sort of tips the balance quite seriously for them to pick up an Xbox One essentially, and I think it's a great step. I don't know if I'm 100% sold on the value, if it adds that much value though from the console perspective. I don't know how you guys feel.
It's basically just a step forward from game rentals, which have been going on for decades. We can maybe quibble about the actual price, that sort of thing, but I don't think fundamentally it's a bad idea.
$5 a month is actually a really good deal.
Well, I mean, how long does it take you to actually finish a game versus how much you'd be paying for it otherwise? I mean, $5, that's 50 rand. You finish a game in a matter of days. Yeah, so...
And then you'll move on to the next one and the next one in the category.
I think.
Yes, carry on. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm just dubious because I mean EA isn't exactly ones to give away stuff for free.
Not
or like
free.
massive value. No, but I don't know what their game plan is there, because initially when I thought of it, my first reaction was, wow, that seems like really good value, but I don't really know. It depends how many games you get, and I mean, it doesn't really work in South Africa when you have to download a 50 gig Battlefield 4 and play it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. There's the bit with the cost, I suppose, as well, which has to be factored in, at least from a local perspective.
For us, yeah, for them it doesn't matter.
On the subject of the downloads, though, two of the perks that you do get with this is that firstly you get a 10% discount on all DLC for any of the games on the service. And then you also get something called Play First, which is where it's kind of like a pre-download thing. Before the game launches, 5 days before that, you can download the game using your EA Access account, and then you can play it on 5 days before launch. You can play it for that whole week up until the launch, so you can be the first out for getting higher rankings and getting all your achievements, that sort of thing.
Sorry, Wesley, this is a good point. any achievements or anything that you unlock, will it still be applicable to your account? Will it actually be skipped?
It carries over, yeah.
Yeah, they will still carry
well,
over.
that's good.
But I wonder if this isn't their thinking beyond it, because I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if the rotation that happens every month basically rotates out almost everything. So they want to get you hooked on Battlefield 4, you play it for 2 weeks with your friends, you're having a fantastic time, and they cut you off.
Yeah.
Then people go and buy the game.
They could do that, but then the roster of games available on Origin is, or even by EA during this year is very, very low. So they would have to go back into the catalog to do that.
I mean, is
Yeah,
that such
I'm
a
sure
terrible...
they'd rotate it back.
I mean, is that such a terrible thing, though, to be able to give them... I mean, and we know why they're doing that, which is obviously get as many games as possible in front of the gamers. The guys play it, they get hooked, like you say, maybe on certain titles, and they obviously encouraged to buy it. But is that... I mean, that's sort of their game. That's what they're going to do, obviously. They're interested in selling the product. This doesn't seem like a really negative way of going about that, though. It seems like it tracks quite closely to PlayStation Plus. I'm just hesitant that maybe this is very much publisher oriented. So what happens if you start having to sign up for subscriptions to Activision? You have to sign up to subscriptions for Blizzard. You have to sign up, for the likes of, say, Rockstar. And all of a sudden, these publishers start implementing a subscription service for their titles. All of a sudden, it's not that affordable anymore to access the games, especially if this is potentially the only way that you can get hold of them.
If they made it so that you basically have to subscribe to get some kind of service that should come with it, then I think that's very dangerous territory.
Right, but I mean, isn't this just a step in that direction? A potential step in that direction?
Yeah, no, for sure, it definitely is. I'm not necessarily trying to say EA is being snaky or something like that, but I'm just trying to figure out if it's as good as value as it seems to be.
Right. I think you definitely have to be wary.
I'm not sure if it's worth it. I'm looking at these games and I don't want to play Madden or UFC. And I'm just wondering, are you not just better off buying Battlefield 4 rather than just paying month after month for these games? I don't know, because it's not really like Netflix. It's like Netflix that only offers one flavor, you know?
I mean, what's really interesting is EA has actually done something like this already. They've got something called I think it was the season pass for their sports titles. So you would actually, this was sometime in 2013, I think. You would basically pay for the season pass. You would also get early access to the titles. And I can't remember if you actually got access. I don't know if you actually got access to the game, or if it was just a case of the titles that weren't out yet, you could access them if you had paid for them already.
Or already get DLC.
Yes. I can't quite remember the details with regards to that, but I do remember that you could access the titles earlier than the launch date. So they've kind of tested this out already on a smaller scale with their sports titles, and obviously they must have got a relatively good feedback if they're trying to roll it out at this level.
I was looking at, I was actually chatting to Matthew about this on my walk with him this morning. And what would really be nice is if you go out, you grab the Xbox One without Kinect for the current price, $399 in the US. Then what you do is you pay for your 1 year subscription for Xbox Live, which is $60. And then you go and you pay for the entire year's worth of EA access, which is $30. So for $490, you've got a year's worth of all of their sports games that they're going to be releasing. So if you're a sports fan, you never have to go out to the shops to go and buy the sports games, because if Electronic Arts keeps them in the roster and doesn't trade them out, then you can just continue playing them, and then you save a lot of money that way.
It depends on the longevity of it.
That is the problem.
I mean, a lot of the games that are on offer here aren't exactly, story orientated single player experiences, because you're obviously going to finish that in maybe a few hours, maybe a couple of days. Something like Battlefield and all these sports games, that's something that's going to be long term. You're going to invite your friends to play, you're going to develop skills, all sorts of nonsense.
Mm. When I was writing this article this morning, I said it was like the Netflix model, but I realized that it's actually not exactly the same, because what this is just a hook. It's a hook to get you into the games, and then to get you to double dip and buy them later, so that you don't miss them from the roster.
It's rental. I mean, yeah.
Rent to buy.
Yeah.
Rental, but not really.
Yeah, with Netflix, you can watch your series of your movies and all of that, and then when it gets to a critical point for the subscriber base, when a lot of people are watching the same thing over and over again, or they're watching, like for instance, they're all tuning into Game of Thrones, or all tuning into House of Cards, then Netflix keeps it on for longer because more people are using their subscriptions properly. So, what this might also be for Electronic Arts is it becomes a marketing tool, so that they can see what games people really want to buy and play all the time, and what games they only somewhat want to buy and play. So they'll start tailoring their lineup up for it.
Well, it's basically the 21st century version of the shareware model.
I wonder if it'll influence what kind of games they put up as well, because I'm just looking at the first 4, and all of them are games that you'll play long term. Not like a 12-hour campaign, you play it once, you're done, throw it away. It's all multiplayer based, playing with friends based. So I wonder if they're going to keep doing that, because they basically, like you said, they want to take it away again.
Dragon Age Inquisition being one of the things that will take you like at least 100 hours to finish, maybe.
Yeah,
if you do everything.
Yeah, because if you take one of those campaign games like an RPG, but it takes forever, you could be halfway through the game and then you get cut off.
I mean, that's
right in the streets.
I mean, it's interesting if you compare it, because a lot of people have compared it to PlayStation Plus, right? Which is, I think, something Sony was, at least they responded to this article, but it's not. It's comparable in that that's what it seems to be initially, but it's not exactly the same. Whereas, like you guys were saying, rotation, you lose access to the you actually lose access to the game. Yeah, whereas with PlayStation Plus, you sort of get a roster of games which you then can download, and as long as you maintain the subscription, you retain the title.
Yeah.
Obviously, once you subscribe out, then you lose all of it. But I mean, that is a known. If you download, say, Dragon Inquisition through PlayStation Plus, as long as you maintain that subscription, you've still got it.
The difference here is because PlayStation Plus applies to the PS3, PS4, and PS Vita. It's a nice way of maintaining enough games that you can play on all 3 systems to make it worthwhile to buy them.
Right.
But with EA Access, because it's only on the Xbox One, it's almost as if Microsoft just wants it to be exclusive to them, and it's almost like EA just wants it to be this marketing tool that they can use. There's no huge benefit to the players, but it might be nice for instance, if you know a game's coming out in the next week or so, you pay them the $5, you get the subscription, and then you can play the game before launch to decide if you really want to buy it or not. Hey, EA, Electronic Arts is charging us to play demos.
Sure. Chris, sorry, just quick heads. Yeah, just with the keyboard, dude.
Oh, is it loud? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did get some. We got some constructive criticism from listeners last time.
Yeah, I just remember to mute if I want to type something. It's because I'm using a laptop mic, so my keys are obviously right next to it.
Right.
Whoops.
But yeah, so I mean, Sony did have some comments to say really about this subscription service, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Bad value apparently.
Right.
Basically, Sony just says nope. We're just not going to do this. It's just not in our interest and not in the interest of the gamers, because they don't think they don't think asking their fans to pay an additional $5 a month for this EA-specific program represents good value to the PlayStation gamer. And that's a slap in the face.
Yeah. So it's interesting as
see,
well.
the thing is that players will see price, they won't see value. That's a typical problem with people generally. They'll just say, "Ooh, I only have to pay $5 and I have unlimited access to this game." Great, I'm going for it.
I expect this to be very successful.
Yeah.
There's a cynicism that we crave.
Sadly, it will be.
Well, it's $5. I mean, a lot of people are just gonna be like, "Why not?" kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's a game rental. That's what it is. So yeah.
I'm happy that EA is trying something else. I'm not entirely sure that this is the best way, but I'm glad that they're actually doing something. And there are some there are definitely some benefits to the program.
Definitely.
So, I mean, what I found interesting was, and I think I made the note here, but like, it's very rich for Sony to say that it doesn't offer value, and then also say like, well, if you compare it to our PlayStation Plus program, the subscriptions are up 200% since the launch of the PlayStation 4. That's probably because the multiplayer that was once free on the previous console is now something you have to pay for. So maybe just a little bit of misdirection there.
Well, if you're winning the console wars now, you might as well just say, "I don't give a crap. I'll just say whatever I want."
I guess.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Sony's been quite cheeky throughout the whole console war. I remember before the consoles were released, they had quite a few cheeky things to say.
Yeah, and then you got... sorry, carry on.
Oh, I was just going to say, do you guys remember that ad? I think it was the CEO was basically saying, "This is how you share games on a PS4," and he like passes the box to his friend.
Yeah,
exactly.
That was the CEO of Sony Worldwide Studios, Shuhei Yoshida. And he was with Adam Boyles, who is I think he is the head. No, he used to be the head of Sony Computer Entertainment America, or he was just deputy. I'm not sure.
There's so many titles I can never keep up with it.
Now that Jack Tretton is gone, I'm gonna miss that grin that he had whenever he was on stage. He was just grinning the whole entire time.
I mean, Sony's advertising has been fantastic. Well, marketing and advertising has just been fantastic. The past sort of 2 generations. There were some incomprehensible things at the very start of the PlayStation 3's life, which, really just like artistic inverted commas ads that, but no, they've really cottoned on. So, and they seem to be writing it pretty well.
Well, they completely exploited all the rage against the Xbox One when that was going on. They painted themselves as basically the heroes of gamers. You know, like the people's choice is the PS4 kind of thing.
Well, that's the advantage of releasing later. They can just look at the other guy's mistakes and improve on them.
Anyway, that's going to be a fun thing to watch and to keep an eye on. Whenever Ubisoft decides to join the party, that'll be when things really kick off, and then then we shall see how things go.
Activision could have a subscription service just for Call of Duty.
Isn't that what they tried though?
It's pretty much a subscription. Oh wait, no, that was Elite was actually sort of like Battlefield Premium.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible.
Wait, did you actually subscribe to it?
No, I didn't. But you only had to look at what you got to just be like, this is terrible. I don't know who it was. It was exorbitant when it first came out. As well, it was so expensive.
And it didn't actually offer you any. No, did it offer you DLC? I don't think it did.
I don't even remember. I mean, Call of Duty DLC is a bit of a waste of money to begin with. But
well, wait. It offered you server priority. If you were in Call of Duty Elite, you would be bumped up in the server queue when you were looking for a new game. That's what it was.
That sounds ethical.
Just talk about elitism.
Anyway, another piece of news that we're all going to talk about and get angry over is that Google, through their YouTube subsidiary, has now bought out Twitch for $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
They've bought out the only other video streaming competitor that they really had in the game streaming space. And Twitch recently was at the forefront of all the headlines around the world because of the Dota 2 competition, which they were live streaming. So now we're just gonna have to wait until the Google Plus accounts come and the real name comments.
I mean, I'm
else.
really happy for the Twitch guys, because they've kind of bootstrapped this since the service sort of started, and they've grown significantly. So I mean, this is really a thing on their success. The problem is I'm also torn by the fact that now, like you say, the sort of alternative and really dedicated, a really dedicated service for game streaming, really, because there was a lot of features within Twitch that I think served streaming games really well. Is now owned by obviously Google through YouTube, and I have to wonder what kind of changes they're going to implement. It's just good to have competition, I think.
I'd like to know, because see, in the beginning when YouTube started, before Google bought it in 2006, they had a content ID system which would flag content for copyright use and that sort of thing, but it wouldn't automatically ban you if you had too many strikes against your name. You would actually just get investigated. Google would have the YouTube guys would have the people coming in from the people who own the copyright to come chat to you and work out a license or whatever, and then you'd be able to continue working or doing whatever you did on YouTube. But with Twitch, how many of the people who are actually streaming games now have the rights from the game publishers or the IP owners to actually stream these games like this?
I mean, I think some guys take like you say, a legitimate approach, and some guys don't. But I mean, not when I say legitimate. Sorry, I mean some guys have taken the effort to contact the dudes directly. But I think largely most of the streamers probably aren't. And that's probably one of the pros of this of the system to a certain degree, because you have the sort of wealth of games that are being streamed.
This is already a big issue on Google right now, is game footage. It's already made headlines a few times now on the legitimacy of it.
Yeah, the guys should get a cut for YouTube videos and things like that. The people who made the game.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's going to complicate things.
I mean,
Okay, Ching Chong Cha.
Yeah, sorry.
Paper.
Let me see if I can interrupt Wesley again, if I can time it perfectly. Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Carry on. No, you go first. I insist.
No. I'm okay. No, I was just saying. I mean, it's sure. I mean, it's a conversation that's going to happen regardless of whether it's YouTube or Twitch, right? I mean, that sort of topic is ubiquitous about. Okay, that might not have been the right, but it's over any sort of video or streaming service. So I don't think that's that critical.
I'd like to know, because for the content ID system on YouTube to work, what it either needs is static content, which can be pre-matched to whatever the content ID owner uploads as his or her original work, and then what's easier to match is audio. So what happens if you are, say, on your brand new NVIDIA GeForce Shield tablet and you're streaming out to Twitch and you're playing Titanfall, and now the Twitch is owned by YouTube? What if in the future, while you're playing, it picks up the the audio from Titanfall, realizes that you don't actually own any of the stuff, and then says, okay, no, we'll just cancel your stream. How about that? We'll just shove you out the door.
It's like a potential time bomb waiting to go off. Well, look, the way that I don't know about patching it retroactively, but one thing that developers need to start doing is actually giving out, specifying what YouTubers and former Twitch owners' rights are. That's a good place to start.
There were a couple of devs who did that. A lot of people like Codemasters, there was Valve, there was Blizzard. They all posted up in this wiki article that NeoGAFers and Reddit users had compiled that showed all the different devs and what they would allow in YouTube videos and what you could use from their stuff. So
I think that's going to become a standard practice.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean, go for it.
No, sorry,
I've just seen on Twitter from Miktar that Crytek Austin and Crytek UK have been shut down. Damn.
Sure.
Oh, recovering nicely then.
Crytek Austin used to be Vigil, and Crytek UK was Free Radical, who did the Time Splitters franchise.
Breaking news.
That sucks.
You heard it here first.
That really, really sucks. Hey? Damn.
Yeah. That is really unfortunate.
Okay, because we
recovering.
We had another thing planned here, but let's just talk about Crytek for a moment. Look this up. Square Enix says one of our listeners is reminding me that Square Enix had some rules regarding royalties and restrictions regarding YouTube content. Yes, they would tell you how you could monetize your stuff, but yeah. In any case, Crytek UK, Crytek now they went and they got funding. I believe they got some funding, but a lot of their studios are still struggling with paying developers and getting stuff done. So it looks like the people who were doing Homefront, the new one, have I don't know the exact details, but it looks like they've had to shut down now. Was anyone looking forward to any of the new stuff?
Don't touch Homefront is the moral of the story.
I wasn't looking forward to it, but I hope it gets picked up by someone else, similar to what happened to THQ titles.
Because they were working on Homefront, and then they were working on Hunt Horrors of the Gilded Age, yeah. And that was going to be a free-to-play sort of online co-op thingy in the spirit of Left 4 Dead. And they were working on a bunch of other mobile games and that sort of thing. And yeah, I really, really hope that they don't eventually get shut down, because then it will just be another THQ. And if anyone remembers, some of the intellectual property from THQ was bought out by Crytek.
Yes.
Hoping that they could do something with it.
No, that stuff is jinxed.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think Crytek's problem started when they took on Rise of Rome, right? And that title did not, I think, perform to expectations.
It wasn't really a title; it was just a tech demo.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's
you say
that's
that
certainly
now.
the truth of it. You say that now?
Yeah, you said that now, but I mean, it is a proper game, obviously. But Rise has taken over 3 years to develop from start to finish. They were supposed to have a release back in 2010, and then when Microsoft approached them, they said, "Okay, we want this game for the Xbox One. You'll do it for us. Cool, go do it." Then the guys working on what was then damn it, I can't remember the project name. Back then it was under a different project name, and then they were working on it, and then Microsoft said, "No, we're going to consolidate all our studios that are working on third-party projects, so why don't you move all you guys into our office in Germany?" So a bunch of people from Crytek in Hungary and some of the other European countries all then pooled into Germany, into Microsoft Studios to work on Rise. And then they got pulled out eventually to go work on other projects, and then Rise stalled, and then about what we've heard reported from other places is that 8 months before, Microsoft intervened, and then Crytek had to get more people to come in and to finish it, and it's very rushed project.
Yeah.
And Microsoft also wanted the exclusive rights to it after the game was developed, not just publishing rights.
So in other words, politics and corporate nonsense got into it.
Yeah.
So I wonder what this actually. I wonder what this means for Crytek's game engine, the one that because they started offering a subscription service for. They started offering a subscription service for their
CryEngine 3.
Exactly. So I wonder if it's a case. I wonder what that means for that as well.
Okay. Anyway, we need to move on to something lighter now. We've got a new section in the podcast now. Instead of where we previously had, for me, a little line hardware software picks of the week, we've instead moved on to what are you playing, since most of the people who go and visit NAG Online and listen to this podcast will be gamers. So, Rick, what are you currently playing?
What am I currently playing?
What are you currently playing? Well, choose one option.
Choose one option, right? Well, I mean, no, look, guys. I mean, I thought this was my time now.
Okay, well, just
no, it's fine. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, over the past week I've been playing Viscera. Well, not over the whole week, but I recently picked up. Yeah, I recently picked up Viscera Cleanup Detail. While it was on special on Steam. Viscera Cleanup Detail is a title that's currently released on early access, and it's being produced by one of our local development game development companies, Runestorm. So yeah, I thought I'd give it a go, and I'm actually rather enthralled. Surprisingly and ironically, since I pay maid once a week to kind of clean up my apartment because I find the whole process tedious, but I'm happy to throw in 6 hours into a game which essentially is cleaning. So I don't know if anybody know. For those who don't know, essentially, Viscera Cleanup Detail puts you in the shoes of a janitor on one of these space stations or research facilities, which typically the first-person FPS protagonist has essentially shot his way through, and it's your duty to clean up the mess. And it models this quite well, essentially. So it's also from a first-person perspective. There's a number of physics going on, and you're essentially required to pick up rogue bits of like body parts and the like. Pick up shell casings. Essentially, just clean. No objectives, no instructions. It's all up to you, essentially. To I don't know. Has anybody else played it?
Actually, I've only seen let's plays of it. I've never actually bought it.
It feels to me like the nerd version of one of those little Zen gardens. You know, you have like the box of sand and the little claw, and you kind of just move it around and place rocks. It feels like that.
It definitely is. I mean, it's oddly. I don't know about you, but I mean, I find it oddly satisfying. Right, the fact that it doesn't exactly expressly tell you what you're supposed to be doing, and it kind of says, well, do it to the best of your ability. And there's I don't know. I get a real satisfaction from getting the place cleaned up, and I wonder if that doesn't speak to something about sort of this guided experience that a lot of games try to give you versus. It's not hardcore by any means, but it does sort of let you get on with it.
Well, I'll give you my address if you want to do some cleaning.
How much do I charge?
Here's the fun part is that there's also a mod already for using Viscera Cleanup Detail with the Oculus Rift. You can see you can see your body parts in 3D.
Sold.
Oculus. Don't even get me started on Oculus Rift, please.
It's a killer app for the Oculus Rift. But I mean, I don't know. Do you guys feel the same? Like, sorry, it was Chris. It was you that was saying that you've you felt like it was a bit like the Zen Garden.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you think? Did it hold your attention or not really?
No, I think the ADD is too strong for me to walk around mopping digital things. I don't know. Like, I kind of see what they were doing with it, but to me it just felt terrible. I was like, wow, I'd rather be playing anything. Actually playing something. I don't really feel like I was playing a game. I kind of felt like, like in the old school games and you're looking for a key card for about 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of felt like that. That was the gameplay. I was just walking around the same rooms without an objective.
I definitely feel like from a frustration factor, what they should be doing is introducing NPCs. Right now it feels quite lonely. Like you load up the map, it's obviously a damn mess. And you kind of go at it very fastidiously and very and clean it up basically there's no interaction. And I imagine that if you had sort of like these other staff members sort of still engaging with these various areas, like sort of walking through the like this area you've just cleaned, you're just about to like clean up the last little piece, and some guy comes waltzing through and leaving like a thing of footmarks there. It would certainly liven things up.
Yeah, I'd like that if I could murder him with my mop.
No. Like you have text strings with the NPCs. I'll vacuum, I'll dust.
Yeah.
I will say though, I am glad that a South African game is getting so much attention. That is
If
cool.
you're likening it to a Zen garden, is it actually relaxing?
I find it extremely relaxing. I don't know.
I will dispute that. Rick might find it relaxing. I played it and I've got to admit that I rage quit because anyone who's played it knows that it's got very meticulous physics. Rick was talking about putting the body parts, cleaning them up. You're supposed to put them inside a bucket and then take this bucket to an incinerator. Problem is that this bucket is very prone to tipping over and spilling the blood and guts that you've just spent a whole long time cleaning up.
Exactly,
So
or
that
like body parts or
10
clips.
times. Yeah, 10 times after that I was like, hell with this game, and just played Mario or something more stimulating.
But I don't know, it kind of appeals to me from at a simulation level, right? You're getting a lot of these kinds of games that sort of model these very minute actions. So I mean, you've got like Papers, Please, right? Which is you sitting behind a desk and you're shuffling these papers around. It's a lot more gamey, to be fair, but it kind of handles those minutiae. And I'm interested in games that sort of I find it interesting that they've chosen to tackle it. Where they're going to take it, I don't know. Because like you say, right now, there's these levels and you set your own goals. And there's a bit of feedback at the end where you load into the office and it kind of has these reports posted up, but it's very vague as to how you've performed. So I'll be interested to see where they take it. It was worth the sales price that I got it at. Maybe at a $12, $13, $14 mark. I can't remember the exact price of it. Maybe I would suggest, definitely watch some Let's Plays and see if that's something you want to try out. Give the multiplayer a go, because I did give it a go with some friends, and that was pretty amusing. So
I think they should put puzzles in it. So like there's like a blood vein on the ceiling and you've got to like make a catapult with a bucket or something. You know what I mean? Like a portal puzzle.
Puzzles. Collect all these body parts and then put them together in the right order.
Oh no, not that kind of puzzle.
Yeah, I mean
not a jigsaw puzzle.
I mean, the worst I had was some of the limbs had got like at the top of one of these pipes, but it was like a pipe that was sort of doing a hair bend through the roof, basically. So you sort of had to stack boxes on top in order to be able to Sounds terrible, I know, guys, but it's actually it was. I was enjoying it. Anyway.
If you were a psychiatrist doing an IQ test, I would have awarded you 100 points for, unorthodox solutions to problems.
There we go. But I would have been marked down for actually playing the game.
Visual spatial abilities are.
The fact that I'd loaded it up was already some marks below. But no, I'd give it a go, guys. If you can, if you're looking for something slightly different and you don't mind.
I will say one thing about it: the graphics are absolutely fantastic, and the actual physics, even though they can be a bit annoying, it just the amount of work they put into that is absolutely stunning.
So cool, yeah, but also just local developed, so
Yes.
Give it a look.
Mark,
There's
what
like
do
a
you,
sort of, just one last point. There is a free version that you guys can have a look at. So you don't actually have to buy it. You can just get the one that they used as the proof of concept. So there's that as well.
The free version, your conscience will be clean, so to say.
your conscience will be clean and your mind will
Yes.
not be. Mark, what are you currently playing?
I'm playing something called God Mode. It is a cooperative third-person horde shooter thing. My friends and I have been playing it to death over the past few days. I would not say it's a great game, but it's good, mindless fun. Anyone who's ever played Killing Floor or Call of Duty, Zombies, that type of stuff, it's very much in that sort of vein, but with a Greek mythology theme, and extremely difficult. Yeah, good fun.
You do like the difficult stuff.
Sorry, what is
You
that?
do seem to like the difficult stuff.
I'm sorry, you keep on breaking up every time you speak. What is that?
You do.
Oh,
You do
sorry, I
seem
say
to
you
like
seem to
the-
like difficult. Yeah.
Yes, I like difficult stuff. Must be the masochist in me.
I was so
Actu-
excited when I saw your thing on Portal Prelude, and then I saw on difficult. I was like, I guess I'm not gonna install that.
Is
Yes.
how much is God Mode and where do you get it from?
It's a Steam
Steam.
game. Last I saw it was probably about $9.99.
It's $10. Yeah, I can see it here.
I don't recommend it playing solo. You only get it if you can actually play it with a mate, because it gets all sorts of crazy fun. Alone it gets kind of monotonous.
A 4-pack is $30 if that's meaningful for anyone. If you can con some people into going in on it with you.
And just put your brain at the door. Just gets them ready for some mindless shooting of the worst variety. A couple of interesting things about it. It randomizes some of the game mechanics, similar to the mutators in Unreal Tournament. Like, for example, the enemies will be stronger, or there'll be fog all over the arena, and this is completely randomized. So, yeah, it's one of those type of games. It's just mindless, absolutely mindless fun.
Completely randomized, just like Hellgate
Yeah.
promised us all those years ago.
Oh god, how bad
And
is that game?
It looked exactly the same wherever you went. You can have it in. You can have this level in any color, so long as it's brown and grey. Shame.
One amusing part is that there is a narrator called a spirit guide that's supposedly supposed to help you, but yeah, he's about as helpful as an instruction manual and an appliance. You know, like you die and he'll say, "Oh, you know, you're really fond of lying on your back," or you'll fight a boss and he'll say, "Try reasoning with it." Okay.
Try reasoning with it.
Yeah. So that's me.
I'm sorry, you were being murdered. Have you noticed that your health is going down lately?
Yeah, there you go. That sort of stuff.
Shame. Okay. For me, I've been playing HAWKEN for a while. HAWKEN's a free-to-play online mech warrior sort of multiplayer shooter. It fulfills the same need that I wanted for Titanfall, where you had mechs jumping around and shooting things, but at least it's free. I've gotten up to level 20 now. Basically, it's you and your mech. You can buy new mechs from the HAWKEN store, or you can just continue with the standard one that you get issued, and you can upgrade that, and you can do things like you can pay real money for HAWKEN credits, so that you can get better weapons, better jumping abilities, better shields, and the matches themselves are in these I'd say 1 kilometer by less 500 meters by 500 meter maps, and you're either playing deathmatch mode, which is you and up to 10 other players, or you're playing team deathmatch, which is you and 5 other people in your team against another team. Very often it gets limited to something like 3 versus 3 or 2 versus 2. It's very nice. It's on the fly. and then you get siege mode, and then you get another mode which I've now forgotten. And
So how long have you been playing it now?
I've
Wesley?
been playing it for about 2 months now, and
Okay.
it's pretty good. It runs on a range of hardware. It can run on a very old computer that we got. Yeah, like The Sims. Yes, it can run on a potato. We actually have an older computer here in the house, which has a dual-core Celeron chip, 4 gigs of RAM, and a GeForce GT240, which is about 7 years out of date now.
Please don't say the C word.
Yeah.
What
And
OS does it run?
Windows 7 actually. So
Oh,
at least
that's
it's up to date on that part.
Mm.
So yeah, and the game is really fun. I've tried asking a number of people to play it and just to give me their ideas, and it is cool. Brings back the sort of mech warrior type thing that I wanted to get into.
I had a stab at it, and I was also quite impressed with what I saw. I haven't returned to it. I've just been busy with other stuff, but it is something I could definitely get into.
And it's really fun when everyone eventually turns on their mics and turns up the audio for the team chat, so that everyone can at least come together and formulate some sort of plan. Because often it's just you and a bunch of other guys. They're all completely silent and no one knows what anyone else is doing.
It seemed like a very idealistic representation of team chat in my experience.
Yeah. I mean, I'm interested. Is it like sort of a just in terms of the arenas? Are you on a flat plane? Or are you is it like a 3D?
It's very similar to the Unreal Tournament sort of maps.
Yeah, the maps themselves are 3D. They have different levels. You can your mech's got boosters, and it's got boosters on its feet, so you can hover, you can fly around, and then you've got buildings that you can jump on, bridges you can hide under, and I would say it's like taking the levels inside Crisis 2 inside the city, where you had all the buildings around you and all the obstacles, and then just putting you in a mech which can jump 20 meters into the air. And then, yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, I mean, what do you? I'm curious about it. What do you find so appealing about it versus maybe the other mech games that you've played prior to this, or maybe even Titanfall?
This is like an arena shooter.
It is like an arena shooter. So I like that aspect, and I really love that it's free for one, and I also really love that I love the fact that it's not a pay-to-win model. The game obviously does allow you to pay more money to get better stuff, but then it pits you up against players who are either much more experienced or have the same amount of stuff as you. So it comes down to skills-based tactics and strategies. And if you're quick on the draw, if you've got good reflexes, if you can strategize very quickly on the fly to, like, say, having 3 or 4 mechs chasing you, and you can plop down a shield, maybe put down a bubble protector, send some rockets their way, and then crouch and hide behind a canister or a building until your teammates come. If you're pretty skilled, you can get really far, and you can pay and you can pay absolutely nothing to get there.
Okay.
You have to be skilled.
Lots of fun. I would suggest trying it out at least for about an hour. Yeah.
All right.
Chris, what are you playing?
Let's see. I am playing Carmageddon 2.
Now, for anyone who doesn't know, a while back, Chris actually posted up an article which was talking about Carmageddon 2, and he said that he felt old because he was playing Carmageddon 2 all weekend, while the rest of the people that he knew, his friends and that, were playing more modern games or doing more modern-y things. How old is Carmageddon 2 now?
I don't actually know, but I think it starts with a 9.
Yeah, it's from the 90s as far as I know.
Back in the 90s, made of sprites and very small pixels.
Yeah,
Carmageddon was in 1998, I think.
Yep, 98. November 30th, 98.
Okay, cool.
I remember playing it on Windows 98, so sounds about right.
Yeah, Carmageddon 2 came out in 1998.
Yeah,
Okay.
Good Old Games had a sale, so I bought a bunch of really old stuff for like 15 Rand.
Just couldn't resist.
And I mean, like, just revisiting it, obviously, with you obviously had memories of it, and revisiting it now.
I'll be honest, it hasn't aged very well. My first impression was that all the cars kind of handle like three-legged donkeys, and the graphics are really bad, but it's still fun. It's still fun. The cars handle really, really poorly, though.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a driving person's game.
No, it's just to run over stuff, kill people.
I think part of the challenge is actually just trying to wrestle your ridiculous car to do what you want it to do.
You see, I wonder how much of that is also just due to modern games compensating for doing a lot of the compensation for us.
So you're just saying I'm really bad at driving.
No. I'm just thinking like, so,
no, it's
like,
true. So I don't really mind.
I'm thinking of obviously like for the consoles, obviously with the aiming, right, which is it's sort of it's somewhat assisted.
Yeah.
So I wonder how much, like from modern driving games, how much of it is sort of handled in the background, and maybe Carmageddon was simulating a lot more sort of at the control level.
I don't necessarily agree. I mean, I've played a few racing games. The trend these days is to actually give you the option how much you basically want the computer to handle it for you. And as someone who has played Carmageddon 2, I can tell you that the controls do kind of suck. It's sort of, it's part of the humor behind it. I mean, you controlling a ridiculously clumsy, deadly car, crashing into everything and everyone. You're basically a pinball machine, or a pinball with wheels.
It's been a long time since I played it, so I'll take your
It's still
take
fun.
your word.
It's
Take your word
still
for
fun.
it.
Your memory of Carmageddon might also be completely different, because back in the days when games were available in South Africa from a place a publisher like SCI, they wouldn't have had blood splatters in them. You would have to download them from the internet. There was actually a blood pack that was released later, where you can get the original pedestrians back into the game, and then you could ride over them and have the blood splatter everywhere.
They changed it to zombies and they made the blood green.
Wasn't that
Yeah, I
just the
remember
German?
that.
Wasn't it
That
just
was-
the German release though?
I think it was German, yeah.
I can remember the zombies and green blood, so I don't know, my memory is weird.
Germany's version, which we might have had locally, replaced the pedestrians with aliens.
Ah, okay.
Green.
Yeah, it was kind of
slime.
stupid. All they did was change the color of the blood, and they kind of like, oh, they're zombies or monsters or whatever.
Just sidetracking a bit, I don't know if any of you remember Road Rage.
Yes.
Sorry, Road Rash.
Yes.
Yes, you could run over old grannies and everything in the road. I don't know how that got past anybody, but yeah, it was available.
Well, you can still do that today in Grand Theft Auto. So.
But we've become desensitized to it.
Indeed, we have. But it's fun. It is quite fun.
I remember I went to visit my cousin in the States, and at the time he had amazing internet. You know, we were still on something really terrible. I don't even know what, like 128 or something like that, and he could download games and everything in about 10 minutes. So I thought, being the really cool older cousin, I'd download him this bootleg copy of GTA 3. But I think he was about 9 years old or something, and he had a birthday party, and all his friends were there, and they were all playing this game. His dad came downstairs, and there was a whole bunch of kids crowded around the computer, and my cousin's just repeatedly beating someone in the face with a baseball bat while they were on the ground, so more blood splatter would come out. All the kids were kind of cheering, and I got in really big trouble.
That is just awesome.
Grand Theft Auto 3. I remember when my younger brother and Matthew and I we were in our teens, we weren't allowed to play age-restricted games. So what we just did is we went to our nearest friend's house who had Grand Theft Auto and played it there. And we just never told our mom.
Well, I think she knows now.
Yeah, she knows now.
Sorry, Mom.
Hey, dude, if you drive over that hooker, you can get your money back.
Well, I remember when Duke Nukem 3D was like the height of gaming scandal, when you could pay those strippers to show you their like nipple swirlies or whatever those things are called.
Shake it, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very different. We're in a very different environment now, I think, with that sort of content as well.
Yeah, definitely. I know, because Duke Nukem's another game I bought on the sale.
Duke Nukem, and I will never have any interest in playing Duke Nukem forever, ever, because I
played it. It was really bad. I mean, everyone knows that, but it just hear the sorrow in my voice.
Yeah. For anyone,
I try and find something good in every game I play, but I'm trying to think of it for Duke Nukem forever, and I'm coming up at a loss.
It ended.
There's a review on Steam. Someone says you can actually get the good ending if at the beginning you download his own jacuzzi, and then you don't have to play the game. There you go.
Like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
The best part of Aliens Colonial Marines was pressing the exit button when you were finished with the game. Or if you just press the exit button and just sold it off to some poor bastard. Colonial Marines.
Yeah.
Moment of silence.
Yeah, but I mean, talking about the future of games, I believe, Wesley, that you have played something that's on a lot of gamers' radar at this point.
I over the weekend I was able to download Destiny onto the PlayStation 3, and I really had fun. I got up to level 4. It's a mixture of Borderlands, Halo, and what was the other game?
Super Mario.
Oh, I don't. Well, there is a lot of jumping.
Shot in the dark.
But basically, it's a mixture of Borderlands and Halo with a bit of Star Wars flair, because they have speedsters inside the game, just like the ones from Return of the Jedi when they were on Endor. And it's speeders. Yes, Matthew. Thank you. Speeders. You know,
He's mad.
But yes, I played it all on my lonesome. Basically, when you start out the game, you play. Damn it, Matthew! Stop messaging. Okay. Original name? No. Okay. Anyway.
Throw you totally off.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Words, Chris. Yes, just words. Basically,
I'll stop.
Basically, you start the game. You're the ghost, voiced by Peter Dinklage, who we now call Peter Dinkbot because he's a robot. He comes and he finds your corpse on the planet Earth, reanimates you, and then brings you back into the Guardians. You, as part of the other Guardians, have to help protect the planets and protect the. What is it called again, Matthew? It is called. Yeah, you have to protect the Traveler, and I mean, if you've heard of Destiny, you know exactly what you're going to be getting. So I won't get too much into the storyline of the game, but it played really, really well, and it acts more as a MOBA, because what you can do is when you get to a certain level, you can go fight online against other players, and in the downtime in between that, it becomes more of a MMORPG, because you can sit down in front of players, you can dance in front of players, you can wave hi to them. It's lots of fun.
Okay. Did it feel like $500 million?
Yes, actually it did. It felt. I mean, the game running on PS3 was amazing. It was so smooth. It was really, really pretty. The draw distance was huge. Bungie just really got a lot of use out of the hardware. I'd say graphically, it looks almost like Killzone Shadowfall in terms of the clarity and how they did the textures. Excuse me.
I was going to ask, how
that's
does it
the wine.
compare? How does it actually compare to the because the one that we're obviously seeing a lot of is the PS4 version, right? So how does the fidelity sort of match up between the two?
Well, I'm still waiting for my check from Electronic Arts to afford my PS4, but I would say it's about if you had to stand the same distance away from two TVs of the same type and the same resolution with a PS3 on one side and the PS4 on the other, you might struggle to see some differences, but the PS4 one will definitely look much better, and so will the Xbox One version. Both of them will be better than anything on current gen. And if you're playing on the PC, you won't be getting Destiny. So
yeah. So I mean, I'm curious because Chris obviously he asked. I mean, jokingly, can you see the $500 million? I'm wondering though, from a gameplay perspective, if it's really. If that kind of investment is showing itself within the actual experience, or if it's just because, like you compared it, you said Halo X Borderlands. Kind of played Halo, we kind of played Borderlands. What is this experience offering that's really that sort of justifies the hype that's around it?
I'm not exactly sure because see, I played a bit of Halo 2 at one point. And when you got into the multiplayer section for Destiny, there were some similarities to how some of the levels were designed that looks a lot like Halo 2 in terms of layout and where objects are and that sort of thing. It's very well designed, but it looks very similar to that. And I suppose the appeal really is for people who were playing Halo and they want to get something more modern and they don't want to pay for the Master Chief Edition on Xbox One. They want something completely different where they can play online with their friends. And the other bit, what it does have over Borderlands is that you can have more than 3 other friends playing with you. You can have up to, I think if you're in the server along with a whole bunch of other people, you can all group together and have like 10 or 12 people all together, and you can go explore the world. There is a limit to how many people you can carry with you into missions, as it's still full.
Okay, I mean, one of our listeners here has just mentioned the point of craftsmanship, and I suppose there's value in that, isn't there? In sort of like you say, Bungie are veterans of this genre, and they're really just refining something that they've been mastering over. Now, probably 15, 16 years, right?
It is very well done, and as someone who has played Halo 1 and Halo 2, it's definitely some of damn it, stuttering. Hang on. It's definitely some of Bungie's finest work.
I think a company like Activision, they're spending $500 million. They're not going to really take much of a risk. You know, you don't test out a brand new revolutionary gameplay with $500 million. So it's kind of like the Call of Duty model to me. Like, it's going to be different, but at the same time, it has all the kind of things that people want to play. They're going very safe with it. It feels like Halo. It feels like Borderlands. It's just going to be a space shooter that's extremely well made and has all the things we'd expect it to.
A new IP, but familiar.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting, right? Because I kind of want to keep people I mean, I remember stories where they were saying that the planned life cycle of this thing was into like the decade mark. They were hoping to keep Destiny going for 10 plus years and sort of maintain content generation for that duration. So I just wonder how, like you say, it's incredibly well made. And they're going with a sort of safe option, but I wonder how they're going to retain the players. So yeah, that's why. Sorry, Wesley. That's why I thought I'd ask because I'm very curious about how this thing is actually playing out.
I'm also curious because does anyone here play Guild Wars?
No.
I played the first. I haven't played the. I haven't played Guild Wars 2. I just.
Okay. Because I suspect that they're going to take the sort of Guild Wars route into this, where what they're going to do is you're still going to be able to buy the main game, but then you'll get a lot of free content added onto it when you're playing online, and it's really, really good quality stuff, and it keeps you hooked. Guild Wars 2 doesn't ask you for a monthly subscription. So any of the stuff is really just coming on from sales from their DLC and that sort of thing. And I'm hoping that Bungie takes the same route where they give you the base game, they give you DLC to buy, but they keep everything sort of fresh. They add in new things every now and then to keep players entertained. Sort of the same way that Rockstar does for GTA Online, because a lot of the stuff is free when you get to the updates.
There is another aspect which doesn't apply here, but Chris and I were discussing it earlier, modability. And that's something that you're going to get obviously on a PC title. We were discussing how, for example, Doom, 20 years old, is still getting mods made for it.
So you're saying you're wondering if that's going to affect, like, user-generated content is going to factor into Destiny's model? Similar to like Valve maybe is doing with like the hacks.
If they seriously want to extend it into the decade mark of appeal, then they're going to have user-created content.
Or they could do something like World of Warcraft. I think whenever you add RPG kind of elements to a game, that's when you can really extend longevity. As long as there's stuff people can collect or improve on themselves or gain, something people have to work towards, you can keep on bringing people back. The reason people still play Diablo 2 12 years later, because they're still hunting for those items and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, but yeah, Destiny will be launching later this year, and if you can pick it up or if you can try it, it's really, really fun. I would really, really recommend having a look at it. And if you, I was also noticing a lot of people online are unsure of how the game was progressing and how the missions are done. It's basically as if you've taken World of Warcraft, you made it into a first-person shooter, and you put it in space, mixed in Borderlands and Halo, and there you go. That's the same sort of community that you would get.
If you like those kinds of games, you're gonna like Destiny, I'm sure.
Yeah, pretty much. The launch is actually September 7th, 2014.
Alright.
Cool.
Pretty soon.
Yeah. Wait, do none of you own a console?
I do not.
I've
Nope.
got.
I think Rick does.
Yeah, I have a PS3. I haven't downloaded Destiny. So I could probably give it a look at some point. It's just, unfortunately, I've been incredibly busy with incredibly busy cleaning space stations, so I just haven't had a chance to dig into.
I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Yeah. Look, now, introduce mods into Destiny.
Yeah.
And then that changes the whole entire thing.
Exactly.
Those spleens aren't going to clean themselves up, so.
There we go.
Cool.
Oh,
Okay.
September 9th.
Yeah, so September 9th, yes, we've just been done.
Our
Just
sources on the ground have just confirmed that it is September the 9th.
Okay, cool. We've all gotten the same source now. Okay, moving on to some news items of interest. We're just going to quickly roll through this because we're over an hour and 10 minutes now. A recent development happened up in the UK where the British government will no longer try and arrest people who are downloading games or indulging in piracy. It's part of the Voluntary Copyright Alert Program, which comprises of the British government, British Telecoms, Sky Broadband, TalkTalk, Virgin Media, the Motion Picture Association, and the British record music industry. And basically what these companies are all coming together to do is they say, well, it's pointless trying to get people trying to prosecute small amounts of people for downloading and pirating video games or music or movies, and then doing stuff like sharing it over uTorrent. So what they're instead going to do is try to educate the people on why downloading copyright content is bad, and give them legal alternatives to get the stuff that they were looking at. And instead of trying to arrest you or trying to threaten you with legal action or whatever, they're just going to send you letters and tell you you've been a bad boy. You're not going to
strongly worded letters.
You're not going to see Santa this year.
I heard that the British police have actually put ads on torrent sites to try and discourage users from downloading.
Yeah.
Interesting development.
It's similar to South African copyright law doesn't say that if you download anything that they'll come after you. It's only when you are taking games, music, and movies, and then redistributing them. Redistributing is
making a profit.
Is the part that they try to arrest you on, because you're then actively encouraging more piracy.
I think uploading is always a much harsher penalty than downloading.
These sort of laws have been in Scandinavia for a while. I know that Norway and Sweden, all those places, they don't even bother prosecuting piracy. They allow it. It's not even criminalized. I might be wrong on this. Don't take my word as gospel. But that is how I understand it.
Sweden won't prosecute you for downloading games either. That's why the Pirate Bay is hosted there, I believe.
Interestingly, a little bit of trivia, Notch of Minecraft fame is apparently a member of the Swedish piracy party.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's publicly said before, though, like, encourage you to pirate his games and things like that. He's very open about that stuff. He published the workaround on how to get to Pirate Bay from some country that had blocked it and things like that.
And I mean, there is a very, very good reason for that, because it suits Notch if Minecraft is pirated, because it's just getting to more people, and then more people will buy Minecraft 2 whenever they come up with one.
Or whatever his company is going to be making.
Yeah. If anyone reads books by Neil Gaiman, he's been very vocal on the internet about piracy, and he says that basically it's the same. It's more or less the same thing as when you had people with books, and then you just lend those. You lend the books over to a friend, and most people learn who their favorite author is, or learn what their favorite genre is, by borrowing books from other people. So he says that he has no problem with people downloading his work and then putting it on the internet, because invariably that leads to more sales of his books, because more people want to read his stuff and support him.
He's making a name for himself. I don't know if any of you know Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails.
Yep.
He went to one of his concerts, I think it was in Australia. He basically told everybody in the audience to pirate his stuff. He asked them how much were they charging for his music there. And I don't know how much it was, but his response was, nope, they're ripping you off. Just pirate it, give it to your friends, tell your friends to give it to their friends, and so on and so forth. Which he got into a lot of trouble for. Not surprising.
Yeah. Who here has ever pirated a game? I've pirated several when I was younger, and much more stupid.
I remember pirating games on floppy disks. Now that was cool.
Look, I think everybody's probably pirated at some point in their life, like in terms of as gamers, basically. I don't know. I've just found that the last couple of years, it's been like the ease with which you're able to actually access content has just become so easy that there's absolutely no need to do so.
Yes. We're also working adults now. We can actually afford to play games, to get all the games that we want. Well, within limits at least.
Yeah, you think that would be a valid argument, but there's definitely some people that have that working income that still choose to pirate regardless.
Anybody who's ever indulged in piracy knows that sometimes getting something to work is an absolute mission. Or something is missing, or something's got a virus in it. So it's just much less effort to pay for it legitimately.
But
also,
I
if you're into Steam achievements, trophies, that sort of thing,
into that, I was gonna say though, I still sometimes download games like a demo. Like I'm not really sure if I even like this game, so I'll download it, play it for the first like 20 minutes, and if I like it, I'll buy it. Otherwise, I'll just delete it immediately. Because I'm just not sure, like, is this actually going to appeal to me or whatever? Because often, I mean, even if you play a game, you can't play the multiplayer, you can't do all kinds of things. It's pointless.
No, I agree.
Hey, that's why you can now pay EA to do that.
Yeah, there
that's
we
just
go.
rent
What if I don't want Madden? What if I want something not made by EA?
Well, then you're screwed.
Tough luck.
Then you might as well just buy the game. I remember the first AAA game we ever pirated was
being an accomplice.
It was the Elder Scrolls Morrowind, and it was playable on my mom's computer, but we didn't have a DirectX 9C graphics card. We only had a DirectX 8 compliant graphics card. So half of the textures were missing. The game ran like shit. Everything looked brown, and instead of having faces, it was just these character meshes, just polygons of brown, and then the person's mouth would move, and then the audio wouldn't be synced up properly.
You had to have a lot of imagination.
Yeah, you did. And then later on, we got to my brother Matthew reminds me that only the weapon textures would exist, and the sky. You could see the sky. It was pretty. And then later on, we got a PS2 years and years back, and we had it chipped because we were living in the middle of the Karoo, and there's no way to buy games. So what we did is we got the console chipped. We bought games from a unscrupulous supplier in Port Elizabeth, and that's how we got our gaming fix for the next 3 to 4 years until we got rid of it eventually, and then we started buying original games because the copied ones would occasionally freak out. Yeah.
I know some people would actually buy legitimate copies of games, but still end up using some sort of a crack or a hack because they didn't want the DRM, or they didn't want to have to put a CD in all the time. I know that was a very common occurrence until recently. Now that Steam and other delivery platforms like it have become more commonplace, that's no longer an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. If you've got an internet connection, and then even if you have a small amount of money, and you've got Steam, hey, you can, and if you've got access to Humble Bundle, you can buy a lot of games.
You could be cleaning your own spaceship by tomorrow morning.
There we go.
Poor Rick.
Cleaning your own station. Rick,
that's fine. That's fine. I will happily take that moniker. I intend to. The only problem, there's no achievements for Viscera cleanup details points.
No. If you play the Shadow Warrior version, there's 2 achievements.
Yeah, no, definitely. So the Shadow Warrior DLC and the Santa's Rampage, I believe both have some achievements associated with them. But the Viscera cleanup detail game proper currently has nothing. I imagine that they're going to load it in as soon as they launch, once it's out of early access. But yeah.
Are there any Steam cards available for it yet?
I'd have to look. I'm winging it.
I'm sure you would have gotten a drop by now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had a couple more stories that we were thinking of putting out, but we're currently running over the 1 hour and 20 minute mark now. So I think we're gonna end here. Next time maybe we'll be spending less time trying to fix the audio issues that we had earlier today.
Guilty. I'm guilty.
Yeah. And this time we didn't hear much keyboard banging from Rick's side.
I don't know what else to say, guys. I just tried to restrain myself. There we go.
just type very.
We respect your restraint. Make
There
no
we go.
mistake.
Can't even stop banging for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Enough banging, Rick, please, man.
No.
Anyway,
here we go with the innuendos. Now we know this podcast is really starting.
now we know it's over.
Well, now we know we're gonna censor this part.
Yeah. In any case, that's all for this week. Next week Wednesday we'll have this at 7:30, not at starting at 8, and we'll have a lot more to talk about. So, yeah. Until next time, I'm Wesley Fick.
I'm Mark Bell.
I'm Rick de Klerk.
I forgot my name.
There we go.
That happens.
And if you're looking for a very, very good housemaid, I'm sure Rick would not be adverse to saying yes, especially if you can ask him to clean
No, I
up
don't
some
like
blood
real
and
life
gore.
cleaning.
Yeah,
Game
are you taking
cleaning. I'm talking
applications,
about video
Rick?
games. Video games, guys. Don't do the real life cleaning.
No.
Can you do
need
it in like a
need
little
to give him
French maid
achievements.
outfit?
Give him some
It
achievements.
costs
He'll be happy
extra.
to.
Costs extra.
Okay. We'll
Okay.
negotiate, that's fine.
There we go.
Cleaning games. No, what we can do is we can put you into the landfill where all those copies of ET are lying, and then
Yes.
how about that? And then you can find you'll get an achievement. You'll get paid $1 million if you find a pristine copy. No, silence. He doesn't like that idea. Anyway,
$1 million.
Thanks a lot.
cheers, guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.